Hi Josh, I looked over your lesson plan and so here's my feedback on it. This is downright impressive. Seriously, it is well aligned, it is well thought through. Mostly what I'm going to be talking to you about today is not things that I want you to change as much as things that I want you to keep and replicate, because this is probably one of the best lesson plans I've ever seen. Holy cow. I would love to know who your 363 partner is, because I'm wondering if you guys lesson plan together, and if you did, that person is providing you with some really valuable good feedback. Okay, so let's look. First of all, it cracked me up, right? Your unit title, your lesson title, your book title. I love your sense of humor. It's great. So I think that you did a good job aligning your established goals, operating in small groups, and propelling conversations with some of the ways that you're teaching and some of the pieces that you're looking for them to exhibit to you, okay? Your global and content area essential questions are really good, and your students will be able to is nice and specific. That's probably the only thing I'm going to bug you on is one of the ways that you're helping them discuss. I wonder if, and this is like really kind of just an area for extension. It wasn't something I expected to talk to people about yet, but how do I take the idea of discussion and how do I establish some criteria with that, okay, so that the kids can start to assess and monitor themselves, all right? And that's kind of right here. I'll be walking around discerning their ability to not only ask pertinent questions, but to work together. If you wanted to make that formative assessment something that is a continuing practice in your class, you could talk to the kids, whether you established it or whether you had them establish it and come up with some, criteria and defensive criteria. That what is a pertinent question and what does it mean to work together well? Obviously questions that like stay on topic are going to be pertinent, but you're asking them to dig deeper than just that, right? And so how do we ask good questions? And that could be a beautiful like extension piece off of this lesson plan that would come in later lesson plans or in later units, okay? I'll show you in your direct instruction where I think that can come in too, okay? All right, so you had them read the first 4 pages, and then you had them start with the warm-up, which is what we did in class today, all right? We've been sad, here's the way that we deal with being sad. We're going to read about a character who's obviously struggling with being sad too, so it's a really nice hook that transitioned well into your direct instruction, building connection between the students and the main character right from the get-go. I really appreciated how in your lesson plan you put these pieces in there that you were modeling discussion, doing direct instruction, pieces like that. I think that just helped me as I'm reading your lesson plans to know what you're doing and why you're doing it, okay? I love that you have like Susie and Jason and Billy and you've imagined through them. That's hilarious. Right here, okay, so you're asking them a lot of questions and you're assuming that they're going to be giving you this really good feedback. It might be an interesting challenge to throw out to you obviously you're very good at the imaginative practice piece of lesson planning. What would happen if you imagined your way through a class with a bunch of students who were very resistant to you or who weren't very open, who weren't giving you some of these pieces? You're right, so you say here, so is Charlie using his letters for all these things? What if there was nothing but crickets? How could you reimagine scaffolding some of these answers into questions that would help those students feel comfortable? If these were your kids and you were teaching this way from August all the way through December, they're going to be there with you. But what happens in August when they're brand new to the class, they're brand new to you, they're too scared to talk? That might be a really interesting challenge for you to think about in future lesson plans, okay? All right, as we move here, I like the fact that you're flip-flopping between some direct instruction, some question asking, and a verbal check. And I like that your verbal checks are not just simply, is everyone getting this? Your verbal checks have some real content, some real meat and quality to them. For instance, here you say, it's an extension question, right? Good. So we've looked at the opening of the book, what's happening on the first page. What else does that tell us? Good. So continually what you're teaching the students to ask of the text is, what did the author do? Why did the author do it? And that's a really nice verbal check for understanding that I would call pretty high level. Okay? I love the fact that your students, oh, the date lets us establish historical context. Ding, 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 we have a winner. Like, it's hilarious. I really get a sense for who you want to be as a teacher, and that's really going to help me out as we work together over the years. Right in, bear with me a second while I scroll right here. I love this question. Someone gives a good explanation, and you say, it's a good explanation. There can be 2 time periods associated with the novel, right? When the novel is set versus when the author's, novelist is writing. And then you very simply asked why. That is a beautiful extension question that I think we would all do well to ask our students more, really showing them that you expect them to defend their answers. Again, here's going to be the challenge for you. What happens if you were to say to Billy, why do you think that? And it's nothing but crickets, right? How would you take this and scaffold some questions to elicit these kinds of responses from the kids, all right? Right down here, hold on, bear with me while I scroll. All right, we're still talking about character. And here, you've got small group practice, okay? So let's get to the assignment. Last night you guys read the letter. I want you to pair up with someone, answer the personal question, or answer with personal answers of what you think are using the text, okay? Here's where you're really going to be looking at, you're going to be walking around to see if they are effectively interacting as groups, okay? Again, another challenge for you. How is it that you can model small group practice? Do you have that kind of, fishbowl thing, right, where you've got inside and outside because there's a particular group who liked it? How can you model them for that? Things like that. I love the fact that you're note-taking here on the board. I think that that's wonderful. It really lets the kids just free flow with their ideas, but it also demonstrates to them that you think that their ideas have a lot of value because you're recording it, okay? And the one other piece, bear with me while I scroll, inferencing, right? You get them to inferencing, okay? And then you may want to model a little bit of inferencing for them, even if you modeled it with a different text or like a small passage from this text. When Charlie says X, Y, and Z, how is it that I understand inferencing? The kids you're imagining through, like I said, are very interactive with you. They're very, willing to answer questions, things like that. What would happen if you wanted them to inference and a kid said to you, I don't know what that means. What do you mean? And you say, oh, when you read between the lines, and they're like, yeah, I don't get it. Right? How could you turn the idea of inferencing into this little mini lesson, especially, Josh, with your special ed minor? Over in this category, you're in this column here, how could you be differentiating that instruction for a kiddo who's struggling with inferencing? What are some small little mini lessons that you could walk them through? Okay? Other than that, man, Josh, this is fantastic. I think you've got this timed well. You've clearly thought through your students. And if you keep doing those things and you keep thinking them through and really pitching these questions to your students on a consistent basis, I think that you would have a really good time teaching, and I think your students would have a good time with it too. So, very well done lesson plan. I like it a lot. Thank you.